When you think of Las Vegas, you think of casinos, nightlife, and lots of adult fun. But you know, Las Vegas is also known for several unique museums. And I'm going to tell you about one. With the popularity of the recent Oscar winning film Oppenheimer, we have a museum called the Atomic Museum of Las Vegas. Stick around, I'm going to show you it. Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Fisher. Welcome to my channel, Las Vegas Travel and More. If you would, please subscribe, hit that notification button and that like button. I'm going to tell you about things to do here in Las Vegas that maybe are off the beaten path or something you hadn't thought about. And that's what this video about is today. We've got several unique museums here in Las Vegas that I want to tell you about. One of them in particular that I visited after many years. I've lived here in Las Vegas for over 34 years. Of course, we've got the Mob Museum, which, you know, a lot of people know about the mob in Las Vegas, the organized crime, and that's downtown. And that used to be the old courthouse and post office building, and now it's a great museum that covers the history of the mob in Las Vegas and law enforcement. But I don't know if you knew about these. Here's a couple other ones that I wanted to mention. We have the Punk Rock Museum here in Las Vegas, recently opened up. I have not been there yet, but if you're into punk rock music, we've got a museum for it. And then, of course, now it's Halloween time, and we've got Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum, and that's on Charleston Avenue. And this museum is pretty popular and is very, very macabre, as they say. This house that he bought was believed to be haunted here in Las Vegas, and it's right on on Charleston near Las Vegas Boulevard. And he's got a collection of all sorts of wild and woolly things in there, including stuff from serial killers and that type of thing. I have not been to that museum yet either, but it is very popular. Okay, but now, like as I mentioned before, with the popularity of the Oscar-winning film Oppenheimer by Christopher Nolan, that starred Cillian Murphy as Robert Oppenheimer, there's been a renewed interest in the atomic bomb and in nuclear testing. And there's been a museum here in Las Vegas for many years, actually. I've been driven past it many times, but I'd never been to it before. And it's called the Atomic Testing Museum. Used to be called the Atomic Testing Museum, and now they've changed it to Atomic Museum. It's an affiliate of the Smithsonian Institution. It's located on East Flamingo near University of Nevada, Las Vegas, not far from the Strip. So I decided I'm going to go in and check out this museum because I wanted to find out about the nuclear bombs and atomic testing. A lot of people don't know that Las Vegas is nearby the nuclear test site, the Nevada test site. So anyway, I'm going to take you through the museum. I spent a few hours there yesterday. This is the outside of the building on East Flamingo, the Atomic Museum now. It used to be called the Nuclear Testing Museum, but now they changed it to the Atomic Museum. As I mentioned, in the 1950s, all of a sudden, people would be coming in downtown Las Vegas and they'd see mushroom clouds over the horizon. That is a real photograph of the Golden Nugget sign on the left and then a mushroom cloud in the distance. The nuclear Nevada test site is about 90 miles away from Las Vegas to the north. And it's huge. The site is huge. And of course, it's very high security. And that's where they do a lot of the nuclear testing, a lot of military testing. And of course, Area 51 is up there where, you know, it's believed that they have alien spaceships and alien bodies and all that sort of thing. But this is a picture back in the 1950s. People were going, what is this mushroom cloud? What's happening there? When you go to the museum, the first thing they have an exhibit on the Manhattan Project, which was covered in the film Oppenheimer. And of course, Robert Oppenheimer is the physicist who put together the Manhattan Project. During World War II, after it was learned that the Germans were trying to develop an atomic bomb, and Robert Oppenheimer, he assembled the talent of physicists in the United States to come, and also engineers to basically figure out how to create a nuclear bomb. Here's a picture of him in the exhibit, Robert Oppenheimer. And then the military general that was put in charge of it was Leslie Groves. And in the movie, he's portrayed by Matt Damon. And they spared no expense. They picked a site in Los Alamos, New Mexico, where they were going to develop the nuclear bomb and do the initial testing. And Leslie Abrams, moved heaven and earth. He had unlimited funds, set up a whole town in Los Alamos and a whole laboratory area for the people that were working there. And of course, we all know that they did develop the atomic bomb. In the museum itself, you see this is not a replica, but this is an actual, backup. They called it the Gadget, and this is the first atomic bomb prototyped or whatever that they used to prove that an atomic bomb could work at Los Alamos. And you can walk around it and see it, and there's little notations about it, and it's pretty wild when you look at it. It's very large. It's much larger than what it appears here in the photograph. And then, of course, the two atomic bombs that were dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan, which effectively ended World War II. One of them was called Fat Man, and the other one was called Little Boy. And there were two different types of bombs using different materials. But this is the placard that's in the museum, and then this is Fat Man, and it's actually another backup, casing for the Fat Man nuclear bomb that they dropped, and it's huge. Actually, when you stand next to it, it's made out of armored steel, and you can actually see it here at the Atomic Museum in Las Vegas. Now, people thought, okay, the World War II ended, and Nagasaki, Hiroshima ended the war. They continued to do nuclear testing for several years because all of a sudden there was a race by other countries, including the Soviet Union, to develop a nuclear bomb. And so the United States needed places to do their testing to create the bomb, make it even better and more powerful. And a lot of it was done in the Pacific Ocean, out on islands in the Pacific. Bikini Atoll was a famous explosion area that they used. And then there was another one too, where they were testing out the power of nuclear weapons and nuclear bombs. Well, it became cost prohibitive to continue to do them out in the Pacific Ocean. So they needed a site in the United States that they could use. And they wanted a place that obviously was remote and secure, but also where the prevailing winds wouldn't take radiation too far and that type of thing. And they decided on Nevada, and the Nevada was the artillery range at the time, but basically it was a Nevada test site. Okay. So in 1951 until 1992, there were 928 atomic bomb tests at the Nevada test site, both above ground, and then later most of them were underground explosions of nuclear devices underground. And that's what this museum is dedicated to. And you get to see a lot of what was done. It's pretty intimidating when you think about it and you see this stuff, but you also see the great amount of money that they put into it in order to develop and make these weapons of mass destruction. This is a photograph of an actual above ground nuclear explosion at the Nevada test site. And you can see it's a very remote area, but those mushroom clouds were coming up. They eventually decided that it was actually safer to do them underground. Here's another above ground test at the nuclear test site. Now, again, this is, less than 90 to 100 miles away from Las Vegas, and they didn't think anything of it. Las Vegas was a small town at that point. And of course, Las Vegas was worried that it was going to hurt tourism, but it actually people were interested in finding out what was going on, so they started promoting it and getting visitors to Las Vegas during the nuclear testing. And of course, this is a poster of Las Vegas taking advantage of it. That's a woman with like a mushroom cloud as a bathing suit and that type of thing. And so anyway, so they took advantage of it for several years. Here's another photograph from downtown on Fremont Street. That's the Pioneer Club with Vegas Vic there on the left. And then in the distance, there's another mushroom cloud when they were doing above ground testing here near Las Vegas at the Nevada test site. And then again here, this is another resort here in Las Vegas. And then you can see in the distance that white cloud. People are out by the swimming pool, and there's another above ground test that was done there. These are interesting photographs that they have from the 1950s. There's a town that they developed at the test site that it was Mercury, Nevada. It was an old mining town, and that basically became the headquarters for the Nevada test site. And they built a whole community there, and it built up to about 40,000 people that lived there. And they built up temporary housing, recreation facilities, bowling alleys, movie theaters, all sorts of things, because this is in the middle of the desert in the 1950s and 60s. And it was a distance away, and people didn't, it was also confidential too. They couldn't, go home or anything like that. Nowadays, the Nevada test site still exists and it's still there, and they don't do nuclear testing there, but they do other secret military things there. And of course, Area 51's there and all that. And it's called confidential, top secret. And so we don't know what's going on, but they have an actual airline that flies. They have their own airline that flies 737s from Las Vegas to the test site several times a day. And they're unmarked planes. You can see them taking off at the Las Vegas airport, going back and forth. They have their own terminal and their own parking area. And a lot of the people that work at the test site today, in these days, they live here in Las Vegas. But at the time, they built a whole town in Mercury, Nevada. Again, it's about 100 miles away from Las Vegas towards the northwest. This is an aerial photograph. When they started doing underground testing, of course, they dug huge tunnels underground, and then they put the nuclear devices under the ground at varying depths and then exploded them. And then when they exploded them, of course, it created craters on the surface, and you would feel like an earthquake. But the craters were all of the dirt and everything settling down into the tunnel, obviously filling it back up after the explosion was done. And of course, they had different devices there in order to, test the strength of the explosion, the radiation, and all that sort of thing. But they did this over 900 times at the test site. Here's another picture. This is a color one, and you can see all the craters that were created by them, blowing up these nuclear devices underground. Now, one interesting fact that I wanted to tell you about is that this Nevada test site, you actually can go on a day trip. The Department of Energy actually has a tour that you can do, and they meet at the Atomic Museum whenever the trip is scheduled. You can go to the Department of Energy's website and actually find it. And actually, you have to make a reservation to go on the trip. But it's a bus tour that drives you to the Nevada test site. They take you around, show you these craters. They show you all the fake towns that were built out there to see the effect of the explosions and radiation. And you can actually tour the Nevada test site, the part that they will let you see. Obviously, that's not confidential. And then they bus you back. So that's, if you're really interested in something like that, you can go out there and see it. But it's a limited tour. It's not like a paid tour or that type of thing. And you can find out about that at the Department of Energy's website and look for Nevada test site tour information. But you can go out there and actually see these things, which are actually pretty eerie when you think about it. Here's a close-up of one of the craters that you can see where the land just went down. This crater is 1,280 feet across, which is 4 football fields across. Pretty amazing. Other things that they have at the museum, I'll go over the different things, but this is Robbie the Robot from the movie Forbidden Planet that was out in the 1950s or 60s. And that's actually a human-sized, full-size robot that they have on display in the lobby area there. And it's something that's interesting there. And I've got a couple other things I'm going to show you that they have on display there that's different from the Nevada test site. But I just wanted to talk a little bit more about nuclear testing in the Nevada test site and the Atomic Museum. Obviously people don't like atomic weapons. I don't. I mean, I think, they're here to destroy mankind and destroy each other. But basically, after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there was an arms race between the Soviet Union and the U.S. And this museum puts into perspective, like if you don't know much about it, oh my gosh, you find out all the things that they did to try and make these weapons more and more powerful and more safe to use. And of course, now they're to the point now where they've got these, supersonic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles that can fire out, and all sorts of different weapons that can destroy this planet and destroy mankind. Obviously, it's a terrible thing, and it's not something that I am promoting or anything like that. But if you want to understand what went on in terms of how they test this stuff and everything like that, this museum is very, very interesting. It's not for everybody, but if you're into that type of history and that type of thing, it's well worth it. They have lots of displays. They also have little movies and films and stuff of some of the tests. They also have they have other chambers where they actually go over the fact that they try and basically say, oh yeah, but we're doing this safely for the environment and this and that, where they try and show the cleanup efforts and that type of thing. One of the things that is controversial here in Nevada is a subject of Yucca Mountain, which is located in the Nevada test site, and the U.S. government was going to use that for a storage facility for nuclear waste from all over the country and put it underground at Yucca Mountain. And that eventually was defeated in the Congress, because we were very much against it, because we did not want this high-level nuclear waste only 90 miles or 100 miles away from Las Vegas, because we claimed that they had to do environmental studies to make sure that this waste, it's going to last thousands and thousands of years, isn't going to leak down into our water table and into our water supply with the radiation. And they were eventually able to, defeat it. So Yucca Mountain is not used for high-level nuclear waste. Now, one thing though I did learn about at the museum was that actually they do store low-level nuclear waste out there underground at the Nevada test site, and they explain what low-level nuclear waste is and things like that. And but they put it up in barrels and they put it underground and store it. So I was a little surprised to hear about that. They also go over the history of the area with the Native Americans and also the animals and wildlife out there. And so they do a good job of going through all of this thing at the Atomic Museum of Las Vegas. So I just wanted to mention that. The other thing, this is the Robbie the Robot display that they have from that movie. The other thing they have is there's a movie, The Imitation Game, from a few years ago, which is talking about the Germans' Enigma machine during World War II, where they were, they had a machine that they could send coded messages to, and the Allies were trying to get their hands on one of these Enigma machines and then to figure out how to use it. Well, they have a whole display in there on spying and that type of thing, and they've got one of these. This is an original Enigma machine that was used by Germany during World War II, and this is what it was. It looks like a little typewriter computer or whatever in a wooden box, but they have that on display there as well. So if anybody's seen the movie The Imitation Game, or there's some other movies that have been done over the years about trying to get to a German submarine to get the Enigma machine, they have this on display there as well at the museum. And of course, they've got a gift shop, and they make light of it. We had a blast at the Atomic Energy Museum, and so that's there. And then, of course, for all of my other fans from my other channel, Scientology Peeling the Onion, I looked and I did not see Xenu anywhere. I asked them about Xeno and they didn't know what I was talking about, but they did have some space aliens, in the gift shop that you can buy, that they're available in the gift shop. And the space aliens are there, of course, because the Nevada test site area also covers Area 51. And so they've got a lot of Area 51, souvenirs and that type of thing. So that's all there. Okay, the Atomic Museum of Vegas, it's a Smithsonian affiliate. It's located at 755 East Flamingo Road, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89119. Their phone number is 702-409-7366. Their hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, and they let the last person in at 4 p.m. daily. And then, of course, their website is www.atomicmuseum.vegas. So that's the information in terms of if you want to get more information about it or that type of thing in order to find out about it. Now, admission for me, I got a free pass. That was one of the reasons why I went. But basically, for adults, it's $29 to go see it. If you're a Nevada resident, you show an ID, it's $25. They also have senior citizen and military discounts. I think children are $15, and if they're under 6, the children are admitted for free. But it's a really well done museum. There's a lot of interesting things in there. If you're interested in that type of thing, the atomic energy, nuclear testing, and that type of thing. It's amazing that this stuff is all out there. But, that's the world that we live in, and it's good to know what's out there and what's going on. And nuclear testing was banned in 1992 between the Russia, Soviet Union, and the United States. So they no longer do underground testing or above ground testing like they used to do. That's no longer being done. But of course, they're still developing better and better nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction, and it's a shame. And there's other countries, of course, that are trying to get this technology and do it themselves. But you'll get to learn quite a bit about how it's done and the lengths that have to be done in order to achieve that. So if you're into that, it's a historical museum. Not many people know it's here in Las Vegas, but the Atomic Museum is located here on East Flamingo. And if you're into that, it's well worth your time to see it. Anyway, that's my show for today. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button. If you like this type of information, I cover everything about Las Vegas from a local perspective, things to do, things to see that are not just, going to the casino and gambling and that type of thing. If you have any questions or comments about this video or anything else, please ask down below. I answer everything. And then if you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee. There's a link down below in the video description. Just click on that. You can buy me a coffee. Any money I get, from that, it just goes right back into the channel. And then, of course, if you'd like to become a member of the channel, right next to the subscribe button, there's a button that says join. You can become a sponsoring member of the channel. There's a short video that you can watch which explains how it works and all that. But I appreciate the support of the members that I already have. And of course, I always welcome new members too. That's the show for today, everybody. I hope you found it interesting. And I'm going to be doing other shows about some of these other museums that are around and things to do. But until next time, everybody, bye-bye. Have a great weekend.